Uncharted 3 Reloaded will soon be released, and some changes need to be made. If you didn't know already, there is a revival server for U3 for PC and PS3 that will let us play the actual multiplayer. You can go check out the trailer if you haven't already. It's going to release pretty soon. Anyway, in this video, we're going to go through some changes for the multiplayer that I think should be implemented. I'm also going to go through some of the recommendations you guys left, so stay tuned for that. Last video though, I didn't go through all the new changes, so I do want to talk about some of it because it's pretty interesting. They gave Drake this Joker hat, which is originally for Eddie. If you go to Harry Flynn, you can see that he looks a little different. Flynn not only has the bandit mask, but now he has the bandit hat. I actually really like it. It kind of fits his character. They got this mask, which gives you a lot of blind fire accuracy. I mean, I went through this last video. They said they were going to get rid of this. I don't get why they're not removing it now. I guess they want to keep it for the beta or something. It's literally like a cheat or a hack that they willingly put into the multiplayer. Albeit the people I've seen use it just jump snipe with it, but I still think it's pretty stupid regardless. And then of course we have head wrap Chloe. This shit is cursed. Listen, if you actually go around using this thing, that is just gross, let me tell you. What I don't get is that they removed Nepal Chloe just to have a head wrap Marlowe for Chloe. Nepal Chloe is literally a fan favorite character that a lot of people mained at one point. I'm thinking of like Burr's Aim Pro and Club America, just to name a few. Bring back Nepal Chloe. Like, I don't know why they did this. But anyway, let's talk about the changes that's happened since my last video, or changes I just never went through. So they ended up removing the blind fire accuracy mod for the Dragon Sniper and replacing it with a scoped in mod. It makes it zoom in a little less, but if I'm being honest, it's kind of clunky right now. I'm sure with some time they'll figure it out and make it viable. Weapon expert also got buffed. I forgot to talk about that. You can put 3 attachments on the long gun, which makes sense because, you know, you can put 2 without weapon expert, and you can also put 4 mods for a pistol. If I'm being honest, I feel like this is overkill. Like, why would you need 4 attachments for a pistol? Feels like I'm playing Warzone again with all these weapon attachments. And on the topic of weapons, I could be wrong about this, but I think they were talking about adding the C4. This is something that was scrapped in the original multiplayer. Just take that with a grain of salt, because honestly, I'm not too sure about that. And one last thing I forgot to talk about are the power plays. A lot of people don't like the power plays, me included, because they just help out the losing team. The worst one is obviously double damage. I don't know what Naughty Dog was thinking.
Gambo's AFK.
I'm not AFK, bro. I'm just not going outside during double damage.
I'm with you, Gambo. I ain't going out there.
Double damage is fucking garbage, bro.
Hey, let me Howard.
They ended up removing double damage and replaced it with the curse power play, which some of you might know. This was in the beta back in 2011. So now let's talk about the booster and the weapon changes. First, let's dive into the new weapons and the new features before doing anything else. All right, so let's talk about the Defender 45. So if you watched my last video, you'd know that this weapon isn't really that good. And from what I've seen, the people in the beta agree that this weapon was pretty trash. I describe it as like a Para 9, but like 10 times worse. The problem is they're trying to turn the Defender into like a Para 2.0. I get the Para 9 needs competition, but this isn't the way of doing it. It needs its own identity. It should still compete with the Para 9, but it should be its own weapon. The Defender needs to be a heavy hitting but slow firing pistol. Like I said, turning it into a Para 2.0 doesn't really make too much sense considering it does less damage, it has a worse blind fire range, and you can't even put attachments on it. And also the FOV, or the camera zoom, for the Defender is very different from the other pistols. It's a little more zoomed in. Please fix this if possible, because this just makes the gun look weird. Okay, now we got the West 44. This gun fucking sucks. The biggest issue is that sometimes when you press R1, it just doesn't shoot. And with the clunky recoil and with this thing taking 4 shots to kill, like, it's ass. The best approach is to 1, fix the recoil, and 2, just increase the damage. In every third-person shooter I've ever played, U4, U3, Rogue Company, The Last of Us Factions, the revolver always 3 shots with a 2 times headshot multiplier, because, you know, that just makes sense. And honestly, unless you do that cheesy weapon expert strat where you weaken them with a pistol and then immediately switch to the sniper rifle, I really don't think people are going to use it that much, but it still needs to be buffed. Now we're going to talk about the snipers. Like I said before, the buff to the ADS speed, or the aiming speed, to the Dragon Sniper is just completely unnecessary, and it's the exact same thing with the T-Bolt. It's completely unnecessary to buff an S tier weapon. This is coming from a guy who's been a sniper on Uncharted since 2016. I can speak on behalf of the clip hunting community that this is just stupid. Reverted to the original ADS speed, that's all. So now let's dive into the guns that I personally think need to be changed. First, let's talk about a gun that I'm pretty sure we can all agree is the worst weapon in Uncharted 3. The Tau Sniper.
Brother,
oh man, this fucking pistol. I don't know what it is, but this thing is near impossible to aim. Not even the 5 Marshy can make this thing look good. It is hot ass. So I think the Tau Sniper is in need of a rework. First off is the clip size. Instead of 6 bullets, it should be decreased to just 1 single bullet, meaning every single shot you take, you have to reload 1 bullet. Now, how do you compensate for the low clip size? You give it more headshot damage. Yes, I'm saying that the Tau Sniper should be a 1-shot, 1 kill with a headshot. It should still be a 3 shot to the body just so it isn't too strong. I know it's pretty scary adding a new 1-shot, 1 kill kill weapon to any multiplayer, but I really don't feel like it's going to be an issue. I still think people are going to use the Para 9 over the Tau Sniper, so I don't think it's going to be that big of an issue. I think it'd be nothing but beneficial to add a weapon that's very skill expressive, like a one-shot Tau Sniper. And if I'm being honest, it's really difficult to hit headshots, especially with half the player base using Fleetfoot. And also, I think very few people would miss the old Tau Sniper, considering literally no one used it. I think this is one of those changes that need to be tested, because the Tau Sniper is just a meme gun, is a waste of space, and it's not like there's not going to be a revolver anymore, because remember, the West 44 is going to be in the game now. The next weapon I got is the Arm Micro. The issue with the Arm Micro is that it's terrible mid to long range, but it's okay at close range. Just give it a vertical and horizontal recoil buff, that's it. This gun is really difficult to control, so just make it a little easier. And the last loadout weapon I think needs to be changed is the Para 9. This is the best pistol in the game because it has no horizontal recoil, which means it has good range. The reason the Para 9 is so good is because of the ALB, or the auto lock blind fire. Whenever you get a certain distance away from an enemy, no matter where you're aiming your camera, it's automatically going to lock on and every single bullet will hit. Out of any loadout weapon in the game, the Para 9 has the longest distance to where ALB starts to kick in. Even the Cal 7 has a shorter distance than the Para 9. That is insane. So just nerf the Para 9 to where the ALB kicks in at a way shorter distance. The 3-bullet melee combo is honestly one of the best combos in the entire game, so I think nerfing this will make this combo a little less viable, especially with how cheesy it can be. And honestly, the reason I want the Para 9 nerfed is because I'm so damn tired of seeing this pistol. I am so tired of seeing the Para. I want the other pistols to have a chance. Admittedly, I don't think this nerf is going to do much. People are still going to use the Para, I'm pretty sure, which is why I'm talking about like reworking the Tau and buffing the other pistols. It will incentivize people to stop using the Para and realize that there are other options. And as far as the Raffica, I really don't know what to do with that. I don't want to buff it because buffing burst guns are like really scary, especially in a Naughty Dog game. Literally in every Naughty Dog multiplayer, there's been a point in time where a burst rifle just completely broke the game. So I'm not going to say anything about the Raffica, but I don't know, maybe they'll change it. But anyway, let's just jump straight into the boosters. Firstly, endurance. This is one of the worst boosters in the game, especially when you consider that it's slot 1, it has a lot of competition, and now it's especially bad with base sprinting getting a buff. So personally, I think endurance should just grant infinite sprint. This will cater to the whole run and gun playstyle that's pretty much the identity of Uncharted 2 and 3. There's not much you can do with this booster to make it really good, so I think unlimited stamina just makes sense. The next booster is deposit. I'm gonna keep it a buck with you guys. I completely forgot this was in the game. It's easily the most forgettable booster in Uncharted 3. If you don't remember what it does, which I don't blame you, it just gives you more money per medal. On paper it sounds good because it just gives you more XP, but when you consider that negative boosters exist, and it's definitely a better trade-off, it kind of makes this booster useless. Deposit gives you 30% more cash per medal, but when you consider that there's negative boosters that give you 200% more cash per kill, like, is it really a debate to which one's better? The point of negative boosters is to put yourself at a disadvantage, but in return you get more XP. So you can't buff deposit because that would defeat the purpose of negative boosters, but if you keep it the same, it's going to continue to be the worst booster in Uncharted 3. It really makes me question, like, what is the purpose of this booster? You're kind of just putting yourself at a disadvantage, especially if you're playing team objective, a game mode where you barely get any medals. Personally, I think it needs a rework, or honestly, it might be better to delete it from the multiplayer entirely and just replace it with a whole new booster. I doubt that they can just make a whole ass booster from scratch, but I don't know, I'm just throwing ideas out there. Next up is regeneration. Even with the inconsistencies, this is one of the corniest boosters in the entire game. I think the best and the most logical way of nerfing this is a slot change. Not only does it give it competition, but it gets rid of that Fleetfoot regeneration combo that all the sweaty head wrap Marlows use.
That's disgusting!
But if regeneration gets swapped to slot 1, that means a slot 1 booster has to come to slot 2. And what better booster than Team Safe? Back in 2013, Naughty Dog made a decision to swap Team Safe to slot 1, and to this day, people still don't forgive them. Team Safe makes it to where 1, you can't kill your teammates, and 2, you don't get stun locked from grenades. But it's just not worth countering whenever it's in slot 1. So bringing back something that Naughty Dog took away from us, especially when it simultaneously nerfs something that everyone hates, I feel like this is a no-brainer and the devs need to implement this. And the last booster I want to talk about is Fleetfoot. Listen, I know it's controversial. I know a lot of you guys love Fleetfoot, but something needs to be done. The number one issue I have with the U3 beta is the continuous spam of this fucking booster. You know, I've seen people defend Fleetfoot saying that there's nothing wrong with it. Listen, it's gotten to a point where if you're not using this booster, you're at a disadvantage. That is an issue. Now, there are two ways you can go about nerfing Fleetfoot. One, you can directly nerf it by decreasing the speed by like 5 to 10%, or you can increase the hitbox size of all female characters. Listen, listen, I'm not sexist or anything, but fuck female characters. The Fleetfoot female combo is the best combo in U3. It's like trying to shoot a sideways piece of paper. If you use a male character, you are willingly putting yourself at a major disadvantage. You shouldn't be at a disadvantage just because you like one character over another, unless you main donut characters, but you're just memeing at that point. When I encounter a male character using Fleetfoot, though it's still really strong, it's definitely not as annoying as going against a head red Marlow or something. So please just nerf one of these things, preferably the hitbox. And just one more thing, I was told by one of the developers that the reason why they're so hesitant on nerfing Fleetfoot is because a lot of competitive players said that they wouldn't play U3 if Fleetfoot got nerfed. If you're one of the people who said that, grow the fuck up. Imagine saying you're not going to play a project that took 5 years to make because your favorite booster got nerfed. That is so childish and immature, as if a 5% reduction nerf is going to completely ruin the multiplayer. Like, get a grip. Anyway, let's move on to the power weapons. Firstly, I got the hammer. Though this weapon is corny as hell, the only real issue I have with it are the magnetic bullets, meaning you don't even have to look at the person, it will automatically lock on, giving you a legal aimbot. This needs to be removed completely. It is the corniest and most new friendly mechanic in U3. Next up is the T-Bolt sniper. Simple nerf, just bring back the old ADS-B, that's all. And the last power weapon is the sawed-off shotgun. The only issue I have, there's an RNG aspect to the shotgun because you can either get 6, 7, or 8 bullets for whatever reason. It's really annoying not knowing the amount of shotgun bullets someone else has. Whenever you pick it up, it should be a consistent 6 bullets because, you know, that's how much the metal kickback has. So I guess it's a nerf because, you know, it gets rid of that chance of getting more bullets. Now with that out the way, we can dive into some gameplay changes or the quality of life stuff. Let's get right into it. I want to talk about the hat stats. Just the concept of a hat stat leaves me with one question. Why? Let's just take a look at some of these hat stats. 8% aimed movement speed, 12% more stopping power, 16% regen delay, 25% headshot damage, +1 taunt ammo clips, call out an actual gun attachment, cloaked. You get cloaked for using a hat? Like, what the fuck? It doesn't give you the full booster, but it makes your name invisible. Like, that is so stupid. Personally, I think hat stats should just be removed, but I don't even know if they can do that. If it can't be deleted, can you at least get rid of the ones that literally give you boosters? Anyway, another thing that should be removed is stopping power. For those who don't know what I'm talking about, this is whenever you get shot at and it nerfs your movement by like 60%. This is something you almost never see in modern multiplayers because everyone recognized how dog of a mechanic this is. You're punished for getting shot at. That's something you literally have no control over. You could say, well, pain wobbles in the game, but at least there's a booster that counters that, which I don't know, maybe they can replace deposit with a booster that counters stopping power. I definitely prefer it to just be taken out of the game though. It's really stupid. But anyway, there's changes that I think would be nice in general. Map voting was kind of weird in U3. There were certain maps that were prioritized over others, specifically dry docks. It would pop up nearly every time you voted for a map, and then there's maps that you would barely get, like Yemen. If you played for a week straight, you'd get Yemen like 4 times. Meanwhile, you'd probably get dry docks like 200 times. So just even out the odds of getting each map, because playing dry docks every 20 minutes can get really repetitive. And since we're talking about maps, I want to go through the intros. A lot of people hate them, a lot of people love them. Personally, I didn't really mind the airstrip one too much, but the train, yeah, it was kind of ass. Terrible, unbalanced spawns. It was far from polished. I still don't think it should be deleted from the game like some people are advocating for. With that being said though, it could still get repetitive playing these intros every single day. The chances of getting the intros should be decreased a little bit just so it isn't too repetitive. It'd be nice to play it like 2 or 3 times a week and not 50. So though I love lab maps, there is one issue in particular that ruins the entire thing for me. Whenever your screen goes gray, you can't see shit. Getting shot by a dragon sniper, I'm pretty sure this is what it feels like to get flashbanged. Like, I can't see anything. I think overall, not just for lab maps, the gray screen needs to be tuned. I don't need the screen to be completely desaturated just to know that I'm weak. It should be tuned to like 50% just to make the visibility a little better, and so lab maps are actually playable. And I think the weekly rotations for lab maps should come back as well. There were a lot of people who enjoyed that, so I think that would be nice. One thing I never understood is how you're penalized for killing your teammates. If you kill the same teammate twice, it gives them the option to kick you.
Let me catch it.
What?
Like, it is totally possible to accidentally blow up your teammate twice. Like, it happens. So maybe increase that to like 3, because if you kill your teammate 3 times, then yeah, you're just throwing at that point. At least 60 frames per second in game. I can tell you right now that sadly this won't be possible. The reason this isn't possible is because the PS3 just can't handle it. On average, you would be in the low 40s, which is still good, but there's bound to be some performance issues, so it's best just to keep it at 30. Realtor made a good point saying Uncharted 4 has a lot of real-time weather effects. I don't think real-time is possible, but changing the lighting and the color colors, that might be possible. I don't think people realize that just by changing the lighting, it can literally change the way the map feels entirely. It's not just a visual thing, it changes how the map plays. I don't know, maybe some of the U3 maps can be changed to look like it's U2 variant. Having a rotation to go back and forth on both versions, like, I don't know, that'd be pretty cool. If there isn't already, there should be a solo co-op option for waves and campaign. By campaign, I think he's talking about co-op adventure. A lot of people don't know this. It's actually possible to play co-op by yourself. You need a modded PS3, which is probably why no one knows about it, but I played it before. It was really fun, pretty difficult. I learned that Drake is partially schizophrenic.
We're gonna do it nice and quiet, all right? We get in, we get out.
Nate, who are you talking to? So yeah, just make it so people can play co-op by themselves. And since playing co-op adventure by yourself is really difficult, there should definitely be a bigger reward for getting the star by yourself. Like, instead of a white star, maybe it could be a purple star, or it could be red. It kind of goes well with the paw. And one more thing I want to bring up are the automatic gold boosters. Some of you guys agreed that it should start at bronze boosters like how it used to be. They told me the reason why they're making everyone start at gold is because there are free-to-play players that won't be able to get gold boosters. And as much as I appreciate them looking out for a small portion of the community, it shouldn't affect everyone because that would ruin the fun for a lot of people. They're capable of giving individual people gold boosters, so just give it to the free-to-play players instead of everyone, because, you know, that just makes the most sense. And there's some other changes I want, but I think I'm going to leave it at that. In my last video, I said that we shouldn't change too much, which is pretty ironic because for the past 13 minutes I've been talking about changes, but I feel like some of what I went through kind of makes sense because a lot of other people have been asking for the exact same things, and the Reloaded team has their own visions. They want to change a couple things as well. Like, I know they were talking about buffing the AK-47. I agree the AK needs to be buffed, but I feel like they're going to make it compete head to head with the M9, and they really shouldn't do that. People will still use the M9 regardless, and now there's just going to be another OP long gun, which the game doesn't need. They should probably just buff the accuracy and nothing more, but we'll see what they'll do. And there are bugs and glitches that have been in the game for a long time that I really feel like they shouldn't patch. Like shield breaking, I think they should leave that alone. Wall bangs, they shouldn't even touch that. That would completely ruin the game for clip hunters. And even the high res glitch, like, no, they should keep that the exact same. I feel like that would be tampering with history. Like, people grew up with these things. It's not like speed glitching on U4. That's completely different. But anyway, leave a comment to what you agree and disagree with just to give the devs some feedback. I'm not expecting them to go through with everything I said because, you know, at the end of the day, I'm just giving some recommendations. So just go to the comments and give your opinion, because maybe that'll incentivize the devs to go through with it. We all love Uncharted, so let's make this project the best it can possibly be.